Oh, what?
Alternative facts?
Lies. Fibs. Also known as stereotypes or false narratives.
It's like saying
Black history began with slavery.
that's offensive.
Or that we'll never see another black president in our lifetime.
What about me? This Black History Month, we're focusing on the facts.
Not alternative facts.
Indisputable. Truth. Real.
Black girl magic is real.
Black boy joy is real.
Black wealth is real.
Black beauty is real.
Black support is real.
Black excellence is real.
It's real.
Black love, that's real.
Black lives are real.
I'm real.
Black history didn't begin with slavery.
And it doesn't end with the Obamas.
Whom we love and miss. No, like, really, we really miss you.
Facts.
Live in 5 show.
Welcome to our special edition of the Black History Month.
I'm Maya.
And I'm Sean.
Today on set we have Josiah. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
So what does Black History Month mean to you?
Well, Black History Month is, I celebrate it yearly, so it's year round. So, I mean, I appreciate that it's like in 1 month, but I celebrate it yearly. And it just means like appreciating all the Black history things that went like from past to now. So like we're still making history pretty much. So, you know, I just appreciate this month because we get to celebrate that.
That's amazing. One of the reasons America is unique is because of our vast cultural diversity.
It took America until 1954 to reevaluate the acceptance of African American segregation when the Brown versus Board of Education case in the Supreme Court challenged that thinking. Jeremiah explains.
Hey, it's Jeremiah, and right now we're going to learn about the civil rights movement for kids. And today we're talking about a historic case in the U.S. Supreme Court called Brown versus Board of Education. Getting a good education is very important, and people travel to attend school here in the United States of America from around the world. From elementary schools to universities, you will see a diverse group of people from different nationalities filling up classrooms. But it wasn't always like that here in the United States. Actually, up until 1954, classrooms were quite different than they are today, not allowing African American students to attend school with white students there too. Now, I don't know about you, but that definitely doesn't sound fair to me. But this was allowed because of a previous court case in 1896 that said segregation was okay, which meant that schools could keep white and African American students separate. Now, there is an organization that still exists today called the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, also known as the NAACP. This organization started to fight back with small efforts in the 1930s by fighting in courts around the countries that allowed segregation in school districts. Having success on a local and state level, they took their fight one step higher. The NAACP stood up to fight this unfair treatment in the highest court of the land, the United States Supreme Court. They had their counsel, Thurgood Marshall, argue the case in front of the Supreme Court to stop laws that made African Americans have to be separate in classrooms from white students. A fun fact about Thurgood Marshall is later he became the first African American Supreme Court Justice on the United States Supreme Court in U.S. history. That is when on May 17, 1954, the Supreme Court handed down its decision to strike down segregation in schools. With their decision, this forced schools who kept African Americans separate from whites to allow integration. What integration means is they had to make a way to integrate, meaning to bring African Americans back into the same classrooms mixed together with white students. The Supreme Court also helped by making rules to make sure that this got done, because a lot of times when laws got passed, people took their time because they wanted to keep things the way they were in the past. Later on, after the Supreme Court made these laws and gave guidelines, it changed the classroom environment that we are seeing today. And now you see integrated classrooms with all ethnicities being allowed in schools today. Well, that was all for me on a quick lesson with Brown versus the Board of Education and Civil Rights History for Kids.
Can you share some of the hardships you've had to endure as an African American?
Hardships, let's see. Well, I mean, just a lot of things like with difference, like people exclude me sometimes out of things that like they think I can't do, or like expect me to do something that's like a stereotype. Like a bunch of people come up to me and like, oh, you're a basketball player, but I'm a golfer, you know, like that kind of stuff. But not too much. I know a lot of cousins who went through stuff in high school, like, you know, like they got jumped and like, you know, hurt and stuff like that. So yeah. So
what are the struggles that African Americans face in everyday America?
Well, I mean, we're kind of like there's like a disadvantage. It's not like a low disadvantage, but it's kind of like you see other people and then you see us, and then we're just there and they're there. So it's not like the hardest thing because we've gotten better. It's better now, but you know, you still have to worry about like people judging us for just the color of our skin. They think we can't do certain stuff and stuff like that. So yeah.
How has America improved in the treatment of African Americans?
Can you repeat that question real quick, actually?
How has America improved in the treatment of African Americans?
Like far, I'd say. But we still have a lot of people in high positions that like, they're in high positions, so it's easier for them to make decisions for like different cultures, like, you know, black people. So it makes it worse for them. But yeah, but it's way better, so.
So let's take a moment and check out just a few of the tremendous amount of contributions made by the African Americans.
What did you?
African American culture is both distinct from American culture and a central part of it. African American culture is rooted in the experience of slaves in captivity in America. It began as a fusion of Western and Central African cultures mingled with Christian and Western cultures. Since slave owners tried to stamp out traditions, education, and independent thought, the developing culture of American slaves was separate for many years. However, their strong oral traditions still influence American culture today with, for example, folklore, rap music, and call and response. The Harlem Renaissance, from around 1918 to the mid-1930s, was an explosion of African American music, art, and literature. Artists such as Augusta Savage, Jacob Lawrence, and Palmer C. Hayden were creating beautiful work that showed the African American story. Authors such as Langston Hughes and Zora Neale Hurston wrote literature and poetry that told the African American story. And musicians like Duke Ellington and Fats Walter played jazz, a new and uniquely African American genre of music. That art and music and literature has become an integral part of American culture at large. African American culture has influenced the way all of America speaks, dresses, dances, eats, celebrates, and worships.
Who are your African American heroes?
Heroes. I'm gonna have to go with Martin Luther King for sure. I like Malcolm X. They're both like good speakers, but they had different ways of doing stuff. Let's see, James Brown, because I love music and stuff, so he paved the way for us. Thurgood Marshall for sure. Like, I love his movie. And Tiger Woods, he's there, but I play golf, so I want to beat him pretty much one day. So yeah.
Now let's see how Tetzlaff Trojans express themselves regarding Black History Month.
Hey Trojans, today I'm going to be talking to you about Black History Month, what it is, what it means to you, and why it's important. So, what is Black History Month? Black History Month is an annual celebration of achievements by African Americans and a time for recognizing the central role of blacks in U.S. history. It is also known as African American History Month. The event grew out of the Negro History Week, the brainchild of noted historian Carter G. Woodson and other prominent African Americans. Since 1976, every U.S. president has officially designated the month of February as Black History Month. Other countries around the world, including Canada and the United Kingdom, also devote a month to celebrating Black history. Titus, what do you think about Black History Month?
I think it's a really good period where you can learn about history.
I think it's a really good holiday because they appreciate everyone especially black people, because back then they were like slaves and stuff like that. So I think it's a really good thing that they do.
So, you may be wondering, what is the significance of Black History Month? Black History Month is a way to remember those who made strides to improve the lives of Americans, and not just Americans, but everyone around the world. So it's important to recognize those who change the world in positive ways. So what do you think about Black History Month?
I think it's really important to honor because they did a lot of stuff for our country. So I think it's really important to just honor what they've done for us. So it's a really important month.
I think it's really important because it respects people that wanted equality, and it helps us to get where we are now.
So that was Black History Month. Thank you to all those who shared to me what it meant to them, and I hope you leave this experience knowing what it means to certain people and why it's important. Thank you.
So how do your families celebrate Black History Month?
I read a lot. Like, we read a lot of books so I can learn different people, because my knowledge is pretty good, but I need to learn more. And, you know, and we eat a lot too, so, you know.
Just how did Black History Month come to be? PBS fills us on in that important part of American history.
The month of February is designated as Black History Month. In the United States, it is a time to honor the important role African Americans play in the story of our country. The idea began as a week-long celebration in 1926, organized by historian Carter G. Woodson and others. It coincides with the birthdays of Frederick Douglass, a brilliant orator who escaped slavery and spent the rest of his life working to stop it, and President Abraham Lincoln, who issued the Emancipation Proclamation during the Civil War, which led to the eventual end of slavery in the U.S. Others who fought to end slavery include famous women like Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman. Woodson's idea caught on, and soon schools and communities around the country began organizing celebrations, starting history clubs and hosting events to learn more about Black history and culture. The Civil Rights Movement in the 1960s sparked even greater interest in the many accomplishments of notable African Americans, who excelled in all areas of life despite obstacles and hardships, like scientist George Washington Carver, educator Mary McLeod Bethune, baseball great Jackie Robinson, entertainer Oprah Winfrey, and President Barack Obama. Black history is American history. Black History Month is a special time to focus on and learn more about Black culture and people of African descent who have made American life richer.
Tell us what Black History Month is not about.
Not about?
Yeah.
It's not about, it's actually, to me, it's not about just celebrating like what black people did for themselves, also what they did for other people, like to enjoy different rights in this country. And we're also celebrating things that other cultures did as well.
So how can we celebrate Black History Month beyond February?
Just extend your knowledge about it and show people the right ways instead of like discriminating, because some people like have problems with having a Black History Month because other people went through things like us, but they have a Black History Month because African Americans are so like they made a really big impact in America, so, you know.
Thank you so much for being here to share the African American culture and the meaning behind Black History Month. And thank you for tuning in to the Live in 5 show on our special edition of Black History Month.
Remember to continue celebrating Black History Month beyond February.
Have an amazing day.